Today we will be looking at Legend of Ymir, a Norse mythology-based MMORPG that will be released in Korea as early as October 23rd, according to a source, though it could be as late as mid-December. Then globally in 2025. I myself suspect it will be a quick release to global due to whispers of this game being their golden goose since the failure of Nightcross to hang on to players. This is my attempt at a rough translation from their latest preview. Although this game is cross-platform, it's primarily designed as a mobile game with automatic combat elements. This means that many players might find the gameplay familiar, but the developers have aimed to add their own unique touch. Their main focus has been on finding the right balance between manual and automatic gameplay. And today I'll be sharing how they've approached that challenge. One of the points addressed by the team was why they emphasized that this isn't an action game. While there are some elements of control, it's important to consider factors like input delay and the limitations of mobile devices. The developers have opted for light control mechanics to suit the mobile platform as the primary method of interaction. The team acknowledges that public opinion can't be ignored. For instance, while some players might have negative feedback about autoplay features, the developers were clear that avoiding autoplay entirely would be impractical. Especially for a mobile-based MMORPG, they felt it was important to create a game they themselves could confidently enjoy, and thus embrace the idea of balancing both automated and manual gameplay elements. I know most Western players tend to hate on automatic play. I myself was guilty of this a few years ago. Then I realized something, whereas most hate on autoplay, the majority of these same people also are willing to download a botting script too. Yes, autoplay. Anyways, that is just my thoughts. The game is divided into two main parts: basic growth content and active growth content. For the basic growth content, the focus is on allowing players to progress through automation while offering as much variety as possible. This ensures that players can grow efficiently within a set amount of time. On the other hand, the active growth content places more emphasis on depth and engagement. In terms of basic growth, there are a variety of activities, such as goal-oriented dungeons, timed dungeons, and familiar natural growth methods. One unique aspect is the artifact system, where every action the player takes contributes to artifact development, increasing stats and earning rewards. Regarding dungeons, there are both instance dungeons and field-type dungeons called Valhalla. The developers have made an effort to separate competitive and solo experiences. Players who enjoy PvP can enter dungeons that combine PvP and PvE elements, while those not interested in PvP can opt for a more relaxed dungeon experience. The choice affects the rewards with higher drop rates in competitive areas and lower rates in non-competitive ones, giving players the freedom to adjust their gameplay pace. A noteworthy feature in the game is the story deck, similar to collections or any other MMORPGs. This feature is designed to provide narrative reasons for players to collect items, making the process feel more meaningful rather than just another checklist. Despite much of the gameplay being automated, there are systems like Expedition that involve more player control. These include small-scale raids for 5 players and large-scale raids for 15 players. Unlike typical mobile games where power and high stats dominate, the developers wanted to incorporate simple control elements to ensure players feel the impact of their actions rather than just relying on sheer stats. The game has also taken a thoughtful approach to balancing engagement for a multi-platform audience. The developers considered what level of interaction would be appropriate for repeated gameplay, finding a balance that requires attention but remains accessible. During the development of raid content, the team tested various gameplay patterns from other PC MMORPG. They realized that overly complex patterns can be difficult to perceive on smaller mobile screens, so they simplified these systems to be more user-friendly while retaining an element of challenge. For players who enjoy more manual control, the game offers active content like Black Valkyrie Saga and Viewpoint. These activities are interconnected with clues and progression linking them together. For example, players can discover clues about Black Valkyrie while playing Saga, adding depth to the experience. The Black Valkyrie content aims to capture the feel of PvP combat, making encounters feel more human and responsive. The development team worked to make these opponents more dynamic, capable of reacting strategically, and performing actions like dodging and taunting, making them feel closer to actual player-controlled characters. Another standout feature is Ymir's Well, which draws inspiration from Norse mythology. Here, players must make active choices, even when building their characters. The team noticed that in many MMORPGs, players often follow standardized builds for different character roles. Ymir's Well challenges players to diversify their choices, offering different paths depending on gameplay styles. The developers understand that balancing manual and automatic gameplay is a sensitive topic. They are aware that the game must cater to existing mobile MMORPG players, as well as have high expectations for action elements due to the art style. It's a challenging balance, but they are making a sincere effort to satisfy both audiences. Ultimately, the developers wanted to be open about the thought process behind these decisions. Instead of merely listing game features, they shared their considerations and challenges, aiming for transparency. The features discussed today will continue to evolve and be updated after launch, so players can expect ongoing improvements. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I will be updating you all on Ymir's progress and when it comes out. I will be diving right in to give you all some content on what to expect in Global. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Outside of the preview video, I myself have been looking into this game for about a year now. Just watching all the content they have released, as well as checking the Korean news articles they've supposedly put out. So far, from what I have seen, this is very similar to Ymir 4, though the UI settings will have a more simplified mobile version and one more suited for PC players, which for most this will be very welcome change from Ymir 4 being how difficult it was to control on mobile screens. But the game has very similar combat, yet with higher mobility in the skills, as well as more AoE in the combat from the looks of it. The classes look very exciting. Can't wait to try it out myself. There is mining and gathering like in Ymir 4, and from one preview I saw someone fishing. The various progression mechanics that are similar to Ymir 4's potential and inner focus seems to be present as well. They seem to put a nice emphasis on the story. I did enjoy the story in Ymir 4, so I cannot see this being a disappointment. And it being based on Norse mythology, I am rather excited about it. Alright, as we start to wrap things up, let's dive a bit more into some of the key features that make open world exploration games so unforgettable. One of the biggest draws is, of course, the open world exploration itself. We're talking about these vast, expansive worlds where you can just lose yourself, uncovering hidden treasures, tackling quests, and embracing whatever challenges come your way. It's that sense of freedom that makes every session feel like your own unique adventure. Plus, the environments are so dynamic. Day turns into night, storms roll in, and it all makes the world feel so alive and immersive. And it's not just about the environment, it's about the people in it. NPC interactions add so much depth. These aren't just static characters. You can actually build relationships, go on quests together, and sometimes even form alliances. It's like every character has a story and you get to be a part of it. Now, let's touch on the social side. We've talked a lot about exploration, but the real magic happens when you bring others into the mix. Whether it's joining a guild, creating your own, or just making friends in game, it's all about building a community. You can team up for quests, share resources, and participate in events. And if you're up for a bit of competition, there's PvP content where you can go head-to-head with other players, as well as PvE for those epic battles against challenging enemies. It's all about finding your tribe, whether you're in it for the adventure or the competition. Now, all this sounds very similar to Ymir 4, and I can say that is a good thing indeed. Until next time, guys, be safe and keep gaming.